over 6 decades, Bank of Industry has been here, driving Nigeria's industrial development through financial and business support services to micro enterprises, small and medium enterprises, and large enterprises across Nigeria. Leveraging on strategic partnerships, we provide equipment financing, working capital, and support to enterprises in key sectors of Nigeria's economy, including youth and women-led enterprises. Whatever your business needs, starting up, expansion, diversification, modernization, or rehabilitation, we'll be here, always to support you. Bank of Industry, transforming Nigeria's industrial sector.
Hello and welcome to BOI Impact. I am Sheung Olagunju. Last edition, we brought you some of the highlights of the 2023 Joint International CEO Forum of the Association of African Development Finance Institutions, Aadfi, and the Association of Development Financing Institutions in Asia and the Pacific, Adfiap, hosted by the Bank of Industry in Abuja, Nigeria. In attendance was the West Africa Regional Representative of Aadfi, Dr. Olashupo Olusi, who is also the chairman of the Association of Nigerian Development Finance Institutions, ANFI, and the managing director of the Bank of Industry. The chairman of Aadfi, Mr. Tabo Tamani, Adfiap chairman, Momino Islam, and other delegates from around the world. There were also representatives of the Minister of Industry, Trade and Investment, Dr. Doris Uzoka Amite, and the Governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, Dr. Olayemi Kadoso, as well as the African Development Bank, the United Nations Commission for Africa, and the French Development Agency were among other top officials in Abuja to discuss ways by which DFIs could contribute to achieving a climate-smart future. We now bring you the concluding part of the event centered on DFI's strategic role towards a climate-smart future. There were robust discussions in 4 plenary sessions that brought together industry leaders who x-rayed the strategic repositioning of development finance institutions, DFIs, for greater relevance. The panelists emphasized the significance of financing climate-smart projects, technical assistance and capacity building, collaboration and partnerships, monitoring and reporting of data in achieving the SDGs and the climate agenda.
We as DFIs.
As contained in his welcome address, the West Africa Regional Representative of Aadfi, who is also the Managing Director and Chief Executive Officer of the Bank of Industry, Dr. Olashupo Olusi, charged DFIs to take actionable steps towards building a climate-smart future.
We must be better coordinated in harmonizing our various climate initiatives to ensure significant impact and achievement of economies of scale. I am pretty sanguine that through our deliberations, we will identify necessary pathways which we can propel our nations towards green, resilient, inclusive economies for present and future generations. I wish you all an insightful, engaging, and impactful forum. And for those visiting Nigeria, visiting Africa for the first time, I want you to know this fact, that this is a milestone trip for you all. Because if you've never really visited Nigeria, you've never been to Africa.
The first plenary session focused on financing for climate-smart projects, with discussions centered on innovative financing models, such as blended finance approaches and green bonds.
What we need to do is to collaborate as DFIs, bring this project on the table, and use this concessional funding to get them going, from early stages, from planning, preparation, and so on. So that's the first approach. The second approach is green bonds. Green bonds have gained traction as a vital funding source across the world. We have launched a green bond framework 2-3 years ago, and we've already raised close to $330 million on it. The exciting part is that private sector money is very keen on participating in this green bond framework. And so I'm suggesting that let's use these platforms as DFIs to bring in private sector money. The last one is what we call a green building framework. The DBSA went beyond just the financing of projects. We cover the full infrastructure development value chain. In other words, we assist our sponsors to plan projects, to prepare projects, we finance, but also we build projects. So we're running a huge department of 130, 135 engineers, lawyers, and so on.
A few years ago, we decided that our approach to investment was going to be based on what we called an ecosystem form of investment, so that we also realized quickly that, look, many infrastructure projects actually on standalone may not be bankable, but when you aggregate them as a whole, then they begin to reinforce themselves and bankability is established. So we've done that successfully well, in Gabon, where we created a special economic zone with Olam, it's called Arise, in the timber industry, again, just helping Africa to take its own resources, add value on the continent, rather than export raw materials and import finished products. We decided when we were doing that special economic zone, we needed to provide power to the zone. We needed to provide a rail to link the forest to the processing. We needed to think about exports, and so 2 ports were built in order to facilitate export.
It requires partnership. When we are raising funding, we are actually being innovative among ourselves to make sure that whatever lines of credit we get, or lines we get, actually comes with technical assistance to provide lenders, technical advisors to the projects that we develop. Because the challenges we are seeing is on project development capital as well as technical assistance. And when innovation is to look for opportunities to partner with development financial institutions that could provide both concessional, or I call soft and patient capital, to be able to help us on those expertise.
A unique approach based on cooperation between CAMP and the Foundation for Sustainable Development. The pillar 1 is reducing the negative impact of funded projects. The second pillar is designing positive impact financing. And the environment and the climate risk management, they have the central bank directive of Banque al-Maghreb for the implementation by credit institution of a system of managing financial risk related to climate change. And the second is implementation of the an environment and social management. And the environment and social management is based on client compliance with the Environment Impact Act, used to identify and evaluate environment and social impact related to the financing opportunity, identify measure and follow this measure.
The second plenary session focused on technical assistance and capacity building, in which the panelists looked into ways to improve technical skills, strengthen institutional capacity, foster knowledge sharing, and improve access to finance for sustainable development projects.
Capacity building is very much important because based on our experience, there are several projects that has been, not being granted for grants because of the preparation. It has to go to the process whereby Adfiap is coming in for our members. So capacity building is very much important for members to get grants and roll out the project, because without any preparation and capacity building, I think it would be impossible for any DFIs to really apply for a grant.
For the DFIs to be very effective in delivering on the SDGs and the Paris Agreement, there is need for them to be strengthened. There is need to bridge the capacity gap within this institution. So essentially, capacity building and technical assistance will be very critical in bridging this gap and in enabling them to play the desired role in achieving SDGs and Paris Agreement.
I think having a very clear understanding that, first of all, you're not in this alone. I think of the governor of the Bank of Tanzania, who says, you can go fast if you go alone, you can go far if you go together. what I see in this community is a lot of common problems. So having a common solution.
We should have special studies about the environment. About the environment, in the feasibility study reports, we have 3 different reports. We call them primary environmental assessment, EIA, environmental impact assessment, and finally, we have another report over the feasibility study report. I mean, 3 reports we have just related to the environmental assessment. So, in every phases, if we understand the staff of appraisal department of project, understand that, oh, it is not a good project, it is not an environmentally friendly project, can remove this project, not allow this project to be run.
In the past, we have had interventions where we had only international expertise, and while the quality of the support that was provided, I mean, I have no doubt of the quality of the support that was provided, there was a challenge in actually implementing the recommendations. And I did say also that we're currently working a lot at the ICR facility on the topic of gender mainstreaming, and this is even truer on the topic of gender mainstreaming, where you really have to understand where the institutions come from.
The third plenary session emphasized the importance of collaboration and partnerships in achieving climate-conscious goals.
Professor Anthony Young from AFGB mentioned this morning the Africa Financial Alliance on Climate Change, which is one of these platforms together at the level of Africa, relevant stakeholders, the entire Africa financial sector, to convene an Africa voice and to make sure that this is a financing gap. We identify the lack of such a platform to foster collaboration, share knowledge, and basically to convene in Africa voice. And then DFIs should provide capacity building and practical support to these kind of actors so that they can channel the necessary capital.
To achieve a holistic and sustainable climate-smart development agenda, every voice counts. So be it local, be it international players, there is need to harness and coalesce the efforts to ensure we drive the same agenda. Engaging international partners comes with great advantage. For instance, you will have access to wider pools of financing. You will have access to expertise, knowledge share, technology. So I believe as we speak about climate smart development, there is need to engage everyone from local to international stakeholders.
As public development banks, what is our role in the system? And I think that's all about what we are discussing within the Financing Common Movement, gathering all the public development banks, is to say that we have a place and a role to play in the international financial system. Which is it? Is to leverage the government's balance sheet to mobilize more capital from the private.
We have over 35 million micro, small, and medium enterprises. So if you are not able to impact them, then the story around climate smart development, of course, will be an issue. So the Development Bank of Nigeria focused on that area, working in partnership and collaboration with several other financial institutions locally. And of course, international partners has made it a very good success story.
When you enter into a partnership, there are mutual interests that you actually want to serve. And one lesson that we learned about partnership, know what your weakness is, and learn how to depend on the strength of others. So we are not yet, for instance, a digital bank, but we can partner with fintech in terms of deploying aid to those in the margins who need them quickly. So I think that's where works for collaboration and partnership, being true to your niche, accepting your absorptive capacity, limitations, and leveraging on the strength of your partners?
In India, of course, are quite dependent on the rain-fed or the agri-based kind of economy that we are. Of course, manufacturing is there, but top-down, like everything gets affected. So one of the key, like last 2 years at least, I can talk about is that we see that notably that whatever that targets that we have set, because of the reasons, underlying reasons, that is the climatic effects on, for example, some of our products, because the institutions which otherwise were not able to access to finances or access to grant, we were able to bring about, and some of the things like development, like for example, cold storage facilities, solar based cold storage facilities, or even vehicles powered by battery mode. So all that through this mechanism or through this mode definitely helped us.
The fourth plenary session focused on monitoring and reporting, with a focus on creation of key performance indicators, KPIs, tools and methodologies for effective monitoring, as well as challenges and opportunities in this critical area.
Why do we want to monitor? We want to monitor for learning's sake, so that we don't repeat certain mistakes. But we also want to monitor and evaluate in order to look at the impact of what we have been doing. This is not a new area. We've been doing it for several years in other areas. Climate change is not a short-term issue. It's a long-term issue. And although the DFIs are lending long-term, the issues that you are discussing, the issues that you want to look at, will go beyond the lifespan of your project.
If I go around 5 towns and villages and I'm able to speak to 30% of the women who are impacted by a particular project, I may end up saying I have a fair enough sample to send some learning or some lessons back to the DFI in terms of what should be done the next time. But that notwithstanding, we need to be active in terms of seeing how much technology we can start to push into places, because technology automates data collection, and as much as possible, that's what we need to do.
There is no human dimension in online reporting. So offline monitoring is required. In India, there is India Stack. There are different layers of data. At the bottom, each citizen of India is having unique identity. Then it is connected to, it is linked to the mobile number and the bank account. So this is the trinity of the model, and whatever direct benefit transfers. For example, 100 million farmers, they are being given assistance through bank accounts. Okay, just with a click.
The Deputy Director of Mobilization, Partnerships and Communication, France Development Agency, AFD, and the Secretary General, France in Common, Adama Mariko, spoke on the Finance in Common Summit 2023.
Finance in Common is a group of 530 public development banks in the world. The importance of this gathering is to go beyond the discussion among public development banks. It means that we should also connect with other stakeholders. Discussing among ourselves is useful, but also connecting with the private sector representatives. I mean, many have said it today, but I think it's really important also to keep that in mind, even at the international level, if you want to avoid this fragmentation, go deep on the taxonomy discussions, and go deep also with the private sector, the regulators, the civil society organizations that take us accountable in our actions and our impacts, but also the philanthropy that can leverage our financing, catalyze new products and new tools, and to be honest with the academics as well, because we need research, we need the way also to to value our work and have researchers and academics also.
Some of the participants spoke about their experiences at the event.
This has been a wonderful experience as we are getting to have discussions with other development finance institutions to know how they undertake the operations, and most importantly, how do they finance, how do they get finance to finance their various development projects. This is really important in terms of knowing that we get enough capital that will help us to finance our development projects.
We're very happy to be here and to listen to all this very insightful discussion, because de facto climate is at the core of fixed preoccupation. We're just trying to see how banks working together scale up financing for climate, because we know that it's a big priority, especially here in Africa, but elsewhere in the world as well. And a special thanks to the very kind people of Nigeria. I have to say it's my first time in Nigeria and I really appreciate that.
The Bank of Industry also treated the delegates from about 33 countries and participants to a gala night with displays of the rich Nigerian culture, music and fine dining, while also networking to support a climate-smart future. Another highlight of the gala night was the presentation of a plaque of appreciation to BOI for its support to Adfiap and for being an amazing host of the 2023 Joint CEO Forum of the Bodies.
This is our little token of appreciation. Thank you very much.
We want to say a very big thank you to people that have deemed it fit to give us this award. We appreciate you. Our Chairman, we appreciate you. Look forward to more engagement with you. And we can assure you that Bank of Industry will always be there to provide the support for these events.
Platforms like these not only create opportunities for networking, but also build strategic alliances for mobilization of resources to promote projects in advancing socio-economic development. And as the MD CEO of BOI, Dr. Olashukwu Olusi, said in his speech, BOI intends to leverage its extensive partnerships with other financial institutions to secure the resources necessary for building a climate-smart Nigeria in alignment with President Bola Tinubu's renewed hope agenda. Do you have any environmentally friendly and sustainable project or any business idea requiring BOI support? Please visit the Office of the Bank of Industry nearest to you nationwide, or log on to www.boi.ng and our social media pages for more information on our products and services. And that's it on BOI Impact. I am Sheung Olagunju. Thanks for watching.